Live.
W's in the chat, baby.
Let's
Let's
go. Let's
go.
go.
Hype
All
it
right.
up. We got it
Well,
working.
all right. Welcome, Stock Nation. Let's go.
This is about to be
Uh,
fun.
yeah. I mean, Jordan, want to give a little voiceover of what this new show is and how often we're gonna do it and what we're gonna talk about.
Oh boy. Well, this is gonna be a fun new thing that myself and Shay are gonna be doing together. We're gonna be talking the markets daily. We talk to markets all the time, right? But we wanted to kind of do more of a show with it and get a little more, I guess, professional with it. And so that's why we're bringing the daily rip right here, and brought to you by Stocktwits, of course, the best. Shout out to the boys over there. They're really doing everything they can to like set us up and get us going. So shout out to them.
I mean, dude, this
But
is like an You guys aren't aware. You guys can't see it, but it's like a legit ESPN studio. The quality of like the production that got put in place. So
absolutely.
appreciate you, Stocktwits, and also like we're in a Trump-led presidency now. Like I think you need the news flow is going to be like 2x, 3x from what it was like the past couple of years, and you kind of need to be able to talk through what news dropped overnight, what news is dropping in the morning before the market opens, because you're going to be left behind with how quickly things are moving now, and it's going to be rapidly. The pace is going to be rapidly different in the next 4 years than it's been the past 4 years. So this is kind of the setup that Jordan and I are doing, where we're going to give you everything you need to do 30 minutes before open, and then we're going to see what's happening 30 minutes after open. Guarantee the volatility is going to be way different as well, because the news flow is going to continue. Like this weekend. This past weekend, we got after Friday, we got a ton of news flow. Like it's actually go check Stocktwits right now to check out what happened over the weekend. All right, let's see. So I know the first thing. Let's see what the sentiment is on Nvidia, because
Well,
Nvidia is
Nvidia's
down three
big dog this
percent.
week. We got earnings coming. I know we got snow earnings too that you're watching, but I mean, everybody's eyes on Nvidia. So
I mean, the Nvidia. All right, so if you guys aren't aware, some news dropped over the weekend that's right here. The beauty of Stocktwits, everything is up here. Nvidia Blackwell racks reportedly face overheating problems, signaling major concern from big customers. So this isn't the first time this news flow in Blackwell has occurred, where there were some design flaw issues. There was some there's this happens when you try to innovate chips to become more powerful, but also diminish the size of it. There's going to be some hurdles that take place, like design hurdles, and this is what it's experiencing, and it's overheating problems. And the irony of this is, what is the solution towards for this overheating problem? It's super microcomputers, liquid coolers. But I don't know if Nvidia wants to really push towards super micro after everything that's experienced the past couple weeks, where there's some accounting fraud. Like if you're wearing the Nvidia hat on, if you're Jensen, like, do you want to rely on a partner that is going through all these accounting fraud issues that might be delisted this time tomorrow? Or are you going to maybe go to the partners like HPE and Dell? Like that's something that we're going to see today. But either way, Nvidia is the top of mind. It's down 2.5% pre-market, which is a significant move on a Monday morning, and it's due to this overheating issue. So what's your take on this, Jordan, on Nvidia? Is this a Would you want to buy before Wednesday's earnings print, or is this more of a let's see what the price action tells it? Like right now it's below 140. 140 is a key level, and it sliced through it. Yeah,
I
curious what your
think
take is.
I think for me it's something I wait on personally, especially if I'm looking to actually like invest and buy more shares. I personally do own Nvidia, but much lower pre-split, right? So I'm not jumping at it at these prices. We are on a bit of a dip for sure. So I like to see that, but not enough for me to get super excited to buy up these prices, to be honest. I think it's a lot safer to just wait till after earnings, listen to that earnings call, see how things are going. I mean, I do expect things to be great, right? I expect a normal earnings report for Nvidia. But at the same time, I gotta be safe. And for me, I mean, the buy spots were after that split when we came right back down to those previous all-time highs into, I mean, what's now 93, $95, that area. I think to buy, waiting for those big dips like that, retesting those massive levels is a lot better, right? But that's
Hmm.
more my style as well. A lot of people will say, time in the market beats timing the market, and I try and do a little bit of both, right? I try and spend a good amount of time in the market, right, with my long-term stuff, But at the same time, if I can time it, I'm gonna do that, right? I'm not gonna be trying to buy these all-time highs. So I do think it's safer to wait. Obviously, that news is interesting and something to watch out for. But I mean, we could be forgetting about this news by Wednesday, right? And not even worried about it, depending on how this earnings call goes. So,
I mean, yeah, I mean, you kind of nailed it. Where the way again, I'm a long-term growth investor, as many of you guys are aware. Portfolio is public on my profile. Nvidia is a position of mine, so around 4% right now. I use fundamentals teach me what to buy, technicals teach me when to buy. So a great example on Nvidia, they're the yen, I think it was here yet, the yen carry trade crisis. Like as you guys are aware, like the market just gap down, gap down. I think it to a point where it was down 12% from all-time highs within like a couple of days, which is wild. The VIX went to 60. Like that happens once or twice every decade when the VIX explodes to 60. But you can see like a clear trend that I use. This is my favorite metric for Nvidia to use. Was right here during the January 2024 beginning of this year. You guys know that Nvidia's up to 200%. New buyers came into this stock as the year began. So I like to use the anchored average VWAP, which tracks. It's a good benchmark to see average volume and price that people have paid since some kind of catalyst event. Beginning of this year was somewhat of a catalyst event for Nvidia. Like just new behavior, new investors came to that stock. But look at this blue line. I'm going to get rid of the 21 EMA. It doesn't get more perfect on how this specific metric is being defended on Nvidia on any pullback. Any pullback. Right here, rose, rose, rose. And the first pullback experienced in 2024 was in end of March. Bounced perfectly on here. All right, we're good. This trend is continuing strong. Let's go to new all-time highs. Oh, let's pull back in June. Where do we stop? It's exactly where that metric is.
and you can see
Now,
the
oh,
market
we're good.
structure, Shy, the whole time is just that consistent higher lows, right? Off of that area,
Exactly.
you can see that moving average is slightly moving up every time, indicating that strong, higher low price action that you want to see.
But the issue is, look how overextended we are now on where that metric is. So this is why I'm like, this Wednesday is kind of a major catalyst for Nvidia, where for them to hit 150 and hit new all-time highs, they don't just have to produce great earnings. It's monumental earnings on top of like what the past couple earnings were. It's like no signs of weakness on Blackwell chips. There's no signs of weakness on the AI demand, which I don't think we're going to see because we already got the pre-read from Meta, Google, Microsoft. Like all their CapEx has incrementally increased over estimates. So I think they're going to deliver really strong numbers. The issue with Nvidia is their guide. Nobody knows because the AI demand is an S curve. Nobody knows when the middle of that S curve is going to occur. And when it does, you're going to first be able to tell on the margins on Nvidia. If the margins start deteriorating even slightly, I think that will cause panic for a lot of investors because they want to be holding the bag when this $4 trillion company has gone up 500% in the past 2 years. You're going to ask, oh man, I want to hold this bag. Like I don't want to get greedy. I'm going to sell. That's what you're going to see. So I think if there is some kind of craziness in the earnings on Wednesday, like any margin deterioration, Blackwell delay due to what we just talked about, overheating issues, I don't think it's going to go down 33% in one day. I think there's going to be a slow trickle down towards this specific key metric as it rises. So that's my alarm on Nvidia. I'm still bullish long term. This is the point on business execution and stock price. They're different. The business is executing flawlessly, and it's going to continue. Like they're becoming less of a hardware player and more of an ecosystem player because of the CUDA platform and software component of NVIDIA's business. However, there's going to be some kind of weird vacuum or lag period in the demand where people are going to panic before they hit new all-time highs. I don't know if that's going to happen this earnings season, but it's something to monitor. Let's check out what else in Stocktwits is moving. We said SMCI earlier, how the irony of their liquid cooler would be a solver for NVIDIA's issue. And I'm sure they're still using it, but they're probably diversifying their customers to HP and Dell because of all the headwinds that SMCI is experiencing. One of those headwinds is being delisted on NASDAQ. They announced over the weekend, right here, again from Stocktwits, love this freaking platform where all the news is here. surges 13% pre-market as retail bets on compliance filing to avoid delisting. This dropped over the weekend, Friday afternoon. So there's no fish. I don't know. Have you seen anything, Jordan, on any official filing yet from SMCI? But I haven't seen one. This is
No.
all narrative. So like this can easily be a 0%. I mean, this could be easily really red if we don't get anything before 4 p.m. The bell being done for today. So keep that on radar. But let's see what the sentiment is on SMCI. All right, neutral. So I feel like that's a win for SMCI because I think it's been bloody bearish past 2 weeks. So
No, that's definitely a win. Yeah, given what it's been. Yeah,
so
look at it.
let's see some popular. Let's see what are some people saying. Yeah, I mean that's funny. I told you not to bet against me. Yeah, I mean that's another good call right here from this guy. Like 90% of the shorts are going to get margin called at open. Like I don't know about 90%, but I do think there might be a short squeeze occurring because I'm part like again, I'm very bullish in SMCI. I think from I've been bullish all year. Where if you guys don't know about the product, like yes, the liquid cooling is a big solve for data center issues, but it's not a competitive moat. SMCI doesn't really own any IP, and the barrier of entry for competition is so low that that business is a commodity itself. Same with telehealth, same with sports betting. Like I think these are all commodities, and companies who are leading these specific themes don't really have a moat. SMCI, you experienced that this year. Like what's happening? They used to be the only player in this space in 2022, 2023. This year, HPE and Dell has been able to enter the space easily with like no resistance, and now they're eating um, the market share for SMCI. And how can I know that they're eating the market share? Just look at the margins, the operating margins at SMCI. Their gross margins has been trickling lower and lower every single quarter in 2024. What does that tell me? That tells me they're lowering their pricing on their product because there's fierce competition, and the only way that they can like really sell their products or maintain their guide is by diminishing their pricing to be more competitive to HPE and Dell. That's a clear sign. It doesn't get more clear. They have no moat. Pricing power is the number one indicator of if a company has a moat or an advantage. If there's competition coming in play and you see their gross margins stabilizing, that means like the product speaks for itself. It doesn't have to lower the price. So I think that's a good tell on SMCI.
I think the price action has really reflected that as well, right? With the downside,
Mhm.
but that brings a potential buying opportunity with what you're saying, right? And I think that's something worth noting that right now, short term with them having to lower costs and everything, it kind of, I mean, look at the stock price over the past, few months. It's been rough,
Let's see.
um, but that could generate
Oh, look at this
something.
gap fill. This
Wow,
is
yeah.
this is one of the nastier gap fills I've ever seen. What is this? All right, so when it broke out, it went up. Yeah, that's nasty.
Got a lot of
Oh
gaps to
my
fill to
God.
the upside, though, I will say.
This is by the way, I'm showing this chart. This is just in 2024 for SMCI, just this year.
Yeah, wow.
It just went up right at the open. Again, new behavior characteristics, investors are like, oh, look at all these green weekly bars. All of a sudden, the world turned upside down after Q1. Hence, margin like in their earnings, you saw the gross margins start declining, and that's when people started realizing HP and Dell are just eating their market share. And now there's a question of like if they have an advantage or a moat, and you're seeing it, they're not being able to answer that. It's just going lower and lower. So I get this question all the time. Do I buy this falling knife? And I always say absolutely no long term. But let's talk about trading. Like where would their bottom be in trading? I actually really had to hold this level. It didn't. There was clearly right here was the place to kind of hold. And now it's looking like a resistance. So if you asked me this question last week, I'd be like, 24 looks pretty interesting dollars. Clearly that's not the case anymore. I don't know. Like, let's see, let's go on the month. When it charts this ugly, I also have to go on the monthly. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
You're the more of the trader, Jordan. Like, what's like if I
I'm
want to
definitely
look for
more
an entry for this?
technicals. Shy here is definitely he gets a little more into the fundamentals where I'm definitely just more along with the charts and for SMCI, especially when you look at a weekly right now, I mean all you see is lower lows, lower highs continuously, right? And until that market structure really changes, I don't really see a whole lot of opportunity now. If you love the company, could you maybe be DCAing into some big levels that you might like? Sure, of course. Like if that's what you want to do and you truly believe in the company, sure. But in my opinion, for the trading aspect of things, I can't just be sitting here trying to pick bottom, right? I gotta wait for some sort of trigger. Where we did get a gap fill, but it happened over the weekend here into pre-market, right? So that kind of trade that I would be looking for is gone. But just looking at that daily, I mean, it's ugly. We're getting a little bit of a bounce from Friday, trying to hold up, and in pre-market we're pushing up to this $20.35. But I just don't see a whole lot of opportunity until I see this market structure change from lower highs, lower lows to okay, we're starting to make some higher lows now, right? We're starting to base and structures changing and then start making some higher highs. And now then I know, okay, the market structure is shifting here and I can actually, potentially look to trade long. But as of now, I mean, I don't see too much opportunity here until we get a little bit more of a market structure change.
I mean, yeah, you nailed it. I will say, this is like when I have to go back to their IPO to see any kind of like bottom or like where I can see like a turnaround, like that shows like there's trouble in the stock. So this is the IPO level on the monthly chart for SMCI. I'd say there's a pretty decent volume shelf around $25, but that also overlaps what I just said. Like $24 was a really good bottom on the weekly chart. On the IPO volume shelf, $25. So if I had to communicate to someone like where's the key level, it's $24 to $25, obviously. But if you want to use a trend from the IPO, this looks like it's going to be a bottom right here, and that's $8. So that's absolutely wild to me. But this is one of those movers where what they went public at a dollar 25 and change, and they went all the way up to 105. So I think this is just like one of those names where I stay away, in my opinion, or go to Vegas and gamble. It's essentially the same thing. I just bet on red.
Pretty much, yeah.
All right, let's see what other news flow is happening on Stocktwits. Want to talk crypto? I mean, you're more of the crypto person. I mean, I know Bitcoin, it cleared 75,000. I said once it does, I'm buying BTCL, and I did, which is the 2x leverage ETF on Rex shares. That's my favorite vehicle to use to capture Bitcoin's
Might
move.
as well. Yeah. I've
It's
been using
top,
that.
my top, yeah, it's my top position in my Blossom trading portfolio. So I said once it clears 75, which it did, it's gonna fly. And I think there's something to talk about on the psychological level of 100K. I know it's like there's nothing to back it up, but I feel like if we're at 90,000, there is some kind of magnet towards 100.
Well,
What's
it's
your
kind
take
of
on
like
what's happening in
stocks.
crypto?
Well, yeah, it's
Yeah,
kind
it
of like
is. Yeah,
stocks when you look at stocks at like, okay, stocks at 90 generally, they want to get towards that $100. Of course, it's not always going to happen. You look at something like Celsius where it got like really close, right?
destroyed.
And then destroyed, right? Sometimes it doesn't happen, but generally when you see that, you're like, okay, we should see that psychological figure. And I do think the same thing for Bitcoin. But at the end of the day, when I when I see everyone and their mother looking for 100K, and that being, I mean, the number that everyone's thinking about, it makes me think. I mean, do they really even let it get there? We hit that 93,500 here, and we haven't really gone any higher above that. So I don't know. I kind of feel like this mid 90 range is a bit of a problem. I mean, clearly we've slowed down a bit here on Bitcoin. We're consolidating on the daily since last Tuesday. Basically all week we just went sideways. So I think it's a little
Well,
scary here. I definitely think there's people that are like, that have been holding through a lot of red that might be taking some profits. But I definitely don't think people are fleeing positions at all. I kind of worry. I was on a spaces the other day talking with some crypto guys, and I just kind of worry that everybody's losing sight of what Bitcoin is meant to be, right? And it's meant to be this transfer of our financial system, and I feel like everybody's just trying to get Lambos and get out.
well, it's because of
So that's kind of my
MicroStrat.
thought.
I think it's because of MicroStrategy. Like what the move is.
Absolutely.
Let's look at MSTU. Like MSTU is a wild move. Again, 2x leverage ETF from T-Rex. Really crazy product. Like, first off, like they went. This is September. They launched this ETF in September. It went from $25 to 134 in a matter of 2 months. Absolute wild ETF launch. Congrats, T-Rex. But I think MSTR, like I think that's like one of those. It's polluting the ethos of what crypto is. And what do I mean by that? Is just what's the and Michael Saylor just keeps using this company as a vehicle to capture as much alpha possible in crypto rather than treating it as an actual business. And it feels very manipulative. It feels very like, oh, we're just gonna go full send, full FOMO. Like we're just gonna acquire as much Bitcoin, dilute the shareholders, and acquire, acquire, acquire. And people are just looking the other way because the returns are insane for MicroStrategy. Absolutely insane. And they hit a new all-time high when they were down 90% at one point, like a couple years ago, which is rare. Like when you're down 90%, like you rarely get back to that all-time high level. It's just you don't. Um, what's your take on what's happening with Michael Saylor? Like I know they're treating him as like the Steve Jobs of tech. Michael Saylor is that to crypto.
I'm not gonna lie, Shy. This is where I go brain dead a little bit because I just focus on the charts, man. People will understand that pretty quickly from me. I am not the smartest guy in the room. I'll say that
Well,
right away.
let's pull up the chart then.
And
You want to
so
do the
that's
daily?
where, yeah, like so, here, give me the chart. I'll
All right,
let's take a look
let's
here.
see.
So when I look at the chart here on the daily, MSTR had been consolidating back and forth for the past few days now. A lot of momentum though, screaming to the upside, right? And I think you have to follow that. The trend is to the upside. The momentum is to the upside. This thing is up a lot more than, a lot of other names trading right now. So I think if you are playing long something, this is definitely the spot to be. But I'm kind of worried momentum's running out a little bit here. I mean, this thing is up massively. I mean, wow.
Well, does it scare you? Does it scare you when a stock's 120% above their 200-day SMA?
Yeah, it does because at some point, at some point it's gonna pull back, right? Like at the end of the day, stocks. I mean, when you look at a yearly chart on SPY, yeah, you could argue stocks go up forever, but when we're on a smaller time frame, right, stocks are gonna pull back. And I think just waiting for that and being patient is so much better. And when, like you're saying, when you're that far above moving averages like that, it's just that is scary, right? Because at any point if a big seller wants to come in and take it down to that moving average, he absolutely can, and it will happen, right? And at some point, I mean, it's going to come in. So stocks don't go up in a straight line, forever. We got to get those pullbacks, of course. And
Well,
that's when we want
let's
to
talk about
capitalize
another
on it.
stock who goes up in a straight line. Let's talk Palantir.
Oh,
Let's
gosh,
talk what
yeah.
happened. Hey, actually, before I put this up, what would you bet? MicroStrategy or Palantir is more overextended on their 200 SMA?
Palantir, I
Let's
think.
see.
I'm going to guess Palantir.
Bro, it's identical. What? Well, oh my God, 123 versus 122 on MicroStrategy. That's actually
That's
wild.
crazy.
That's
Wow.
wild. Okay, well,
Interesting.
um,
I mean,
once a
Palantir's another crazy one, though. Gosh, I mean, straight up in a line, it's like, okay,
well, do you
this is
want to talk about what
beautiful, but
happened with Palantir last week? I think it was a pretty big.
lay it on him, Shy.
I mean, let's see let's find on Stocktwits what happened.
Yeah, bring it up on there.
Let's see. I mean, so much news flow happened since Palantir that I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't even see it. So I think a lot of people. This is a good point right here. People are complaining that Carp. I can't zoom in too much. Carp has been dumping shares. He just sold over 6 million shares. He also filed after Friday. Again, that's a little sus, but like it's just no. I think it's just absolutely normal for a CEO who essentially has everything. Like his net worth is tied into this one company, and when that company triples in 1 year, he's gonna sell. Like he's
Yeah,
gonna
it's
want to take
normal.
some. It's normal. I guarantee. Like Apple, the
But I
Apple
won't say it
CEO
won't drive
Steve
price
Jobs
down
did.
a little bit right now, for the
It
short term.
hasn't though. That's the scary part.
I
So
know. That doesn't sit right with me at all. Oh, gosh.
well, I think the point, if you guys aren't knowing, if you guys are confused of what's happening on Palantir and why it keeps going up and not really pulling back, like right now, what? Look at this on let's do the weekly chart. It's at an 85 RSI on the weekly chart. So this is another indicator I have on Palantir. I mean, on technicals. Again, 75% fundamentals, 25%. I wear my technical hat sometimes. So anything above 70 is overbought, like significantly overbought. And usually there's going to be some kind of consolidation or pullback inevitably. It's at an 85. This is at an all-time high RSI. Oh, yeah, all-time high RSI for Palantir since their IPO in 2020. Every time it's pulled back, it's hit like 75 plus, it's pulled back a little. So if you want to do right here, 15%, not much. Again, over here, 25%, that's something. Again, it goes, where is it? Over here, 23%. Now, where would that indicate? So we have 15, 25, 23. Let's just say a 20% pullback on average the past 3 times it's hit 75 plus on the RSI. That's probably going to happen sometime over the course of 2 months. So let's see where it's going to go. It's going to hit $48. So based on historical RSI, it does look like Palantir is going to hit $48. But let's talk about one of their board members said they moved to the NASDAQ. So let me just pull up. There's got to be something on here on the NASDAQ. Oops. So if you guys aren't aware, Palantir moved to the NASDAQ from the New York Stock Exchange. So now they're eligible to essentially be included in the QQQ, that really popular tech ETF. One of their board members mentioned something about like, oh, they did it for the squad. Like I'm paraphrasing, but like he did it for the Palantir like shareholders, like the retail investors. Like he did it for this move was for them. I think it obviously got deleted, but I think a lot of people were just off put by that because usually board members don't tweet, and not just not tweet, but tweet something that's very FOMO esque, and especially on a stock that looks overbought, and you see the CEO just continues to dump shares during his shares like his sell program. Right here, look, Carp has sold $2.5 billion worth of Palantir stock in September and October. That's not the best. And the Friday he just sold another 400 million after hours on Friday. Either way, I think a lot of people are poking fun of like CEOs dumping shares. Board of directors are tweeting that the move to the NASDAQ, like they did for the retail squad. I think they're missing the bigger picture. Like this is going to be a mega cap one day. And I think a lot of institutions were violently underexposed in Palantir because they viewed Palantir as this consulting company or black box for the government that no way it can succeed on an enterprise level or commercial side of the business. Their AIP moment was their iPhone moment. And I think it occurred, yeah, it was, let's see, it occurred sometime right here. It occurred November 2023 was when the AIP bootcamp got launched. So I think that was like their iPhone moment of like, oh, whoa, it's not going to just be government business. It's going to actually trickle into the commercial side of the business. And that just took off. And a lot of institutions didn't believe the story until 2 quarters ago, where it was in August right here where it started breaking out. And that was like, whoa, we're seeing revenue reacceleration from government, and now commercial customers are just like sequentially increasing quarter after quarter, and like it's happening on both sides of the business, and their business model scales. I actually don't know of a bit better business model than what their Palantir's business model is, where it's so sticky and it's so scalable. Where right now they're producing, I think, $1 billion from the commercial side of their business with only 500 600 customers. There's thousands of enterprises in the US alone. That just shows like this is the numbers they're producing right now. There's like 5 to 600. There's so much runway, and once you adopt Palantir's product, like you don't leave. It's just absolutely sticky. And now that you're seeing the enterprises adopt it, and you know that the government uses it for a lot of their level 6 defense systems, like this is not malware. This isn't just some black box. It's a real AI solution, and it is going to be the AI application for enterprises going forward. And now because of that, you have Nvidia dominating the hardware space. You have Palantir now dominating the application space. I think a lot of funds, institutions miss out on Nvidia early on, and they got in towards like the last couple of years, but they really just they missed that explosive move. They don't want to do the same thing for Palantir. They want to have that next, like whoever the next winner is for the next leg of this AI thematic is applications. And you're seeing it right now in Palantir. They don't want to miss that ride. They want to have another NVIDIA 2.0. So I think that's why you're seeing institutions just bid it up. And now for the first time in the history of Palantir's like public since their IPO, institutions own more than retail shareholders now for Palantir. And you've seen that trend continue the past 6 months. So I think that's what's really driving this Palantir action. Like going from 35 to 66 in a matter of 6 months, that can't be driven with volume too. That can't be driven by retail. So I think institutions are picking back up. But that's enough
Well,
for
and that's why you
Palantir.
see that price just flood to the
Fly.
upside, right? You're sitting there and you're like, oh, I don't want to chase, but if anything, that's the best time to chase, right? Is because all these guys are flying. You've seen it in the market all year long, right? You've seen it even with the election, the money flow of just money that flew in the next day into the market, right? People have this FOMO and they've had it all year. That's why all these new all-time highs, you just see this money flow into the market, right? Obviously, we're seeing a little different right now with the market pulling back from Friday.
I mean,
But,
I wouldn't be
making for an
surprised if
interesting week.
this finishes green. Like this
Yeah.
every dip Palantir's experience like on the daily. Let's see what the daily. When's the last time? Oh, they had a couple.
Not much of a dip
One.
though there,
Yeah.
huh? I mean,
I mean,
sideways.
it's so over on the daily chart, like being at 52 of the 21. That's wild. It anything over 20% above their 21 EMA on the daily chart is like, geez, that's it's extended. But again, technicals. Here's the thing about Palantir. Like a lot of people were scared about the valuation, and they factor that over the moats of the company. So a lot of Palantir now is like 3 times as expensive as any of their competitors on the public market. Like they have no competition, but I'm saying like big data analytics, Snowflake, MongoDB, they're like 3 times as expensive as those comps. So you'd assume like with the RSI being overextended, fundamentals are like like the premiums through the roof, very 2021 Snowflake like. You saw what happened in Snowflake. There's gonna pull back, but again, I think the only way the Palantir pulls back, it's obviously not because of board members tweeting funny things that makes the stock look like it's not a real company. It's not Carper or Thiel selling billions of shares in the past couple months. It's going to be an earnings catalyst. It's going to be like, oh, whoa, it's that past 2 quarters we've seen. It's actually just a temporary like outperformance. It's still on that 25% CAGR trend, but a lot of people are expecting it to be 30%. We got that last quarter. If that doesn't continue, there's going to be a violent pullback. But I don't think that occurs until they report their earnings in the next 2 or 3 months. So towards the end of the year, things get very frothy because Santa rally occurs like second half of December. But like you never know when it gets front loaded. The Fed's on our side. Trump's going to be president. That's going to be bullish for a lot of things. A lot of things are occurring where like this end of year rally can be explosive, especially if we break through the all-time highs, which for SPY, we're not even that far. We're 2%, I think. Yeah, we're 3% off the all-time highs. This is an interesting point. I didn't see this. It's on the 21 EMA on the daily chart right now, SPY on this pullback. So today's
Basically ridden that all year long. I mean,
yeah.
every dip.
So this open is gonna be really interesting on SPY. See where it goes from there. If it violates that, the 50 looks like it's a really strong SPY. That's a 575, so another 2% down. But yeah, anything else you notice? Let's see Stocktwits. But anything else you notice, Jordan, that we should look up the ticker
Well,
on Stocktwits?
did we touch on Netflix at all? What was going on with the fight over the weekend?
Sorry, you were buffering. I didn't hear you. What was that?
Did we touch on Netflix at all?
No, I'm kidding. That's what Netflix had.
Oh
the
my
issue
God,
on
I
for-
thought you were serious because I wouldn't be surprised. I've been having some problems, so I thought you were serious. But
No, I mean,
yeah,
Netflix,
interesting weekend for Netflix, huh?
Obviously, they underinvested in AWS cloud over the weekend. It's just wild. This was such a hyped event, Tyson versus Paul. to under invest in AWS rather than just overdo it is absolutely wild to me. This is something it was somewhat forgivable because I don't know. I feel like a lot of Jake Paul's fans who watch it are just like younger generation, Gen Z, young millennials. Like they're more forgiving on like technical errors. But I can promise you, come Christmas Day when Netflix is showing NFL games, if there's any buffering, the NFL fans are brutal compared to Gen
Yeah,
Z
they're not
and
nice.
millennials.
That's where
They
it's
will
bad.
not
Like,
forgive
yeah,
you.
I completely agree, Shy. Like my whole generation, because I mean, I feel like we all grew up in the technological era. Like I remember
Hmm.
getting an iPhone. I mean, when I was really young, right? That was like one of my first phones, obviously. So, you know, when I see technical errors, I feel that way, right? I feel like it's like it's whatever, it's technology, we know how it is. But I definitely feel like a little bit of the older generation, especially NFL, they're not going to be very happy if you see any buffering because I get why. I mean, there shouldn't be any problems. It's kind of ridiculous in my opinion. Even with the fight, it's like how can you have problems with when you're Netflix and you're bringing in all this money and you're making this investment? I don't know. It's crazy. Obviously, everybody has issues, right? Problems are going to happen, but I just think making sure that something like that doesn't happen to make your whole consumer base happy is a big deal. It's important, you know.
Also, they
And
spent $60 million for those two fighters. Like they
yeah,
should
exactly.
like.
That's huge. Yeah, yeah. And it's like, okay, you spend all this money, and it's like, I don't. What'd you think about the fight? I thought it was horrible. Like, I didn't enjoy the fight at all, personally. So it's like, I don't know. I don't think
I mean,
the
it's red
consumer base is very
pre-market.
happy.
It's picking back up. I think it was down
It's
2%
not
when
as
we
red as
started
I
this
would have
stream. Yeah.
expected at all. I thought it'd be more red.
So let's see where a pullback would occur. I mean, this 21 EMA on the weekly chart, that's been the buying point all year for anything like big tech, NDC wide. Like, so if their pullback continues, I don't see how it would that much. People, because the reason I say I don't know how much I would see a pullback because all this backlash is a narrative. It's nothing fundamentally driven. It's not like pe- unless we get some news story like, oh, people are so pissed off at Netflix they unsubscribed, and that trend continues, which I
And
doubt it.
I
Like,
don't see that happening. No,
no,
no.
at,
This is
at
short
all.
term type. And I had friends at when I was at dinner when we were watching the fight, and they're like, "Oh, isn't this gonna drop the stock price a ton?" And I was like, "I mean, short term maybe, but at the end of the day, this is not an actual headway for Netflix in any way, unless, of course, like you're saying, it brings to people unsubscribing and getting off the platform, which I just don't see
No, not
happening
at
at
all.
all."
So 715 would be an interesting area for me to watch. But as we pull this up, look at AMD. AMD is up 3% pre-market. That's a move. Let's see what happened. I wonder if this is Blackwell related because if there's any delay on Blackwell, that's going to leave room for AMD's new chips to kind of get some of that love that the H100s got from Nvidia. Uh, the biggest bear case on AMD has always been as soon as they bring a new chip to the market that's going to be leveled up with the existing like leader, which is Nvidia's chip. Nvidia just one ups them with newer, better chip, and the innovation time window on Nvidia used to be 18 months. Now it's a year. Now it's even less. Like it's like 10 months. So like it's not really giving AMD a chance to eat at the table with Nvidia. So if there's a delay in a Blackwell chip, this essentially gives a window for AMD's chip to be as good as the leading chip right now, which is the H100 from NVIDIA. Like it gives them the opportunity of like, all right, let me steal that market share because as soon as Blackwell chips go into the market, AMD's newest chip is going to look like, why would I want to get it's like, why would I want to get the iPhone 15 when the iPhone 16 is available right now? That's the mentality for the chip quality. So if the iPhone 16 gets delayed, now the iPhone 15 versus like the close as possible competing product is available, like it's a toss up on which one you want. But by toss up, I mean like it still doesn't have the software component ecosystem NVIDIA offers, but I'm saying just chip quality. So it makes sense that any delay on Blackwell would be uber bullish on AMD in the near term. And I think that's what we're seeing right now. Yeah, see like new Blackwell chips right now, they're panicking AMD. listening, it's funny because AMD has been on a weak trend. Look, this is Nvidia's chart. Let me pull this up. Look at this, all-time highs, and this is AMD's. Drastically different. So, uh, people, I mean, AMD fundamentally is on the cheaper side. It's just,
I still hold the AMD personally. I partially because I got it under $100 and I'm, happy with the trade itself, but it's one of those
ooh,
things where it's
that
like
was
I
a
feel
long
like
time
at
ago.
some point I am gonna be kicking it to the curb. Kind of like I did with Uber. I mean, I used to own Uber and then it's like, okay, would I rather have my money in Uber or do I truly believe in Tesla like I say I do, right? And it's like, okay, at some point I took my Uber profits and went over and took that right into Tesla, and I'm very happy with that decision because at some point it's going to be like Uber versus Tesla for me. At least that's what I believe, and I definitely think Tesla's the winner out of that, right? So, yeah, I think it's a tough situation. I own both, but it's tough because at some point you're gonna have to make a choice, right, with what happens in the future. So we'll see.
Well, let's talk
But
Tesla. You brought it up.
yeah,
Tesla,
Tesla's got
we
that
didn't talk about
news.
that yet. Yeah, it's got that news.
You wanna
I
you wanna
think,
talk over that news specifically real quick?
yeah. So if you're
And I'll
aware,
talk charts.
Tesla, Trump winning was obviously going to be bullish on Tesla because of the hundreds of millions of dollars that Elon spent publicly to support Trump's presidency. Like you rarely see that from any CEO, but you saw that with Elon. So clearly there was some kind of like wink wink between Trump and Elon. Like if I win, I'm going to help you out, especially on any kind of hurdles that the government has put in place for any revolutionary tech, aka FSD and autonomy. So everyone assumed that FSD would get to that commercial scale much quicker, get through all the stupid hurdles that the government puts in place for like disrupting existing structures like driving. And we knew that's why the stock caught a major bid. Where I think it was the past couple weeks, it just went from I'm gonna let him talk technicals. Oh, Jesus, this is ugly. My bad. Talk technicals, but it is just run up since was it the election is right here. Yeah, I mean, it went from 245 to 330 in a matter of a couple weeks. And that's just knowing that, all right, if FSD actually might be a reality for revenue recognition in the next 12 months rather than like 2 years, 3 years. And over the weekend, news just dropped that Trump wants to like change up the regulation required for autonomy driving. That's uber bullish for Tesla. And that's why the self we saw last week on the $700 EV tax credit is going to be removed. Yes, that's going to be bearish on the car delivery numbers for Tesla. It's going to be bearish on like consumer spending towards EV
But
cars.
again, those
It
are
does,
short-term bearish headways. Those are not big
exactly.
long-term concerns at all.
Like that's you viewing Tesla as an EV car, like a company. Like that's the EV goggles you're on, but you're missing the bigger picture, which is why I got bullish on Tesla this time last year. It's like, oh, they are the AI, the real world AI winner in the AI thematic. And it's because their FSD technology, their autonomy technology, like they're the winner for the real world AI application, where Palantir, enterprise AI application, Nvidia, hardware AI app winner. Tesla is the real world AI winner. And you're seeing that come to play with this news. And it's catching bids, 6% pre-markets. It gap filled, I think, from that stupid EV tax sell-off. But yeah,
It's
tell me what
tough.
you see in
Yeah,
the
it's already getting
technicals.
the move I was kind of looking for some of my first targets. I mean, we had an inside day on Friday, and I was watching to wake up this morning and hopefully get some back tests of Friday's highs after opening up above it or getting above it. And we're clearly above that 339.70 here, just a lot farther above it than I thought. So I think with that catalyst, tough to be short Tesla going into this week, especially maybe just throughout the whole week. I think it's going to be a tough short. But I am still looking for potential retests of, Thursday, Friday's highs, those areas, which is around 328, 330. So still kind of looking for an entry there. Obviously, with that news coming out, it kind of switches up my trade because I was looking to get in a lot lower. But we'll see what happens with that, right? Something with that catalyst, it's like I don't want to be short that going into this week when I know that's going to drive price up. And then, I mean, what you were saying with the election, I was personally positioned in my long term before the election. I did not have options over the election. I traded plenty of
As you
options on
shouldn't, because
Tesla.
the IV is way
Yeah,
inflated on a
I
catalyst like that.
exactly. And IV, it's just like it doesn't matter what move you're gonna get. If IV is too high on options, it's never worth the squeeze, right? So I caught Tesla from like the August lows. I rode that all the way up into September. I was happy, made plenty of money there. Lost some on the Robo Taxi night when that came out because I was still long on some options, and then really haven't participated in options since then personally, just because Ivy's been crazy with earnings and then election and all this. So when we got this dip, I was waiting for a move down to 300. Then this catalyst comes out over the weekend and is driving us higher. So switching up my plans a little bit, but watching for retests of some of these key levels like Thursday's high, Friday's high. If we can hold those levels, I definitely want to be long off them. But if we, for whatever reason, get selling and lose some of these lows that we made last week, I want to see that $300 again. So looking for that. And then right along with Tesla, that's been running, Coinbase has just been flying, clearly with crypto, doing really well there.
Oh, let's see
This
what
triggered
Coinbase is
another
doing.
long for me on Friday. The way we got above, if you look at Friday on a daily chart, you can see that daily candle on Coinbase broke above
Oh,
Thursday's high.
gorgeous daily candle on Friday. I did
Oh
not
yeah,
notice that.
yeah. Broke above that high, held the high from Thursday, back tested it. That's your trigger long for me on the swing. And as long as you hold that and close over that, which we did, you're good for the long swing. I'm looking for back tests of that personally.
Well, let's see what
I did
Coinbase
not
is doing
grab any
pre-market.
options going into the weekend because I did not want to take any risk over the weekend. And if I grabbed it, I would have grabbed it a lot later. I wasn't looking at it when it was actually retesting my level. So I'm looking at that 292.50. If I can get retest of that, I'm looking to long Coinbase off of there with options. And then as long as we're holding that 292.50, I'm happy. And then we have targets of basically just daily levels. Take it day by day. We would go back to daily levels of that Tuesday low from last week. That would be my first target. And then it's to the next highs, which is around that 327 area. And if we can get new highs out of this range, I mean, that's really what you're looking for. So that's what I'm looking for on Coinbase and Tesla for the most part.
Well,
Those are my most. That's what I'm focusing on more right now, Shy. But what are you looking at there?
I mean, I forgot that Gensler got fired. Was that over the weekend? Or was that Thursday? And that's why I caught a bit
I
Friday.
think that was last week actually that it happened
Okay.
during the week. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't quite remember though. Let me look.
Yeah, so I mean that's uber bullish. Like
But
just look at this
yeah,
Stocktwits
massively
comment right
bullish.
here.
Trump said he was going to do that right when at the Bitcoin conference, and yeah, he's making 200.
I mean, my issue with Coinbase is here's the I just
well,
why
it's
not
not.
just
It's
if
not Bitcoin as much as
it's
we
not
like
Bitcoin.
to.
That's the thing. Like
It's
if-
not
but if-
Bitcoin, guys. It's not. That's the thing.
So I'm asking you this question too as well, where like if you're not investing in Bitcoin and you're trying to get some other vehicle to capture like the crypto alpha, it's not Coinbase is like the middle ground. Like why not just go MicroStrategy, because that's clearly the vehicle to go to if you want to get as much return as possible in a short amount of time if crypto's on fire. Coinbase, I don't know, like their fundamentals are just like way. Yeah, let me pull up their fundamentals too, but.
No, you're 100% right, Cheyenne. Like, I guess for someone like me, it's more of the fact that like, yeah, I'm using it as a trading vehicle, right? And but that's just sheerly because like I like the contracts, right? The way those contracts move are nice. I know the chart. I guess MSTR is a great name too. Just a name I don't trade as much, but I agree with you. Whereas like if you're trying to capitalize on the best trading vehicle, it's probably MSTR versus Coinbase, right? If we're putting them against each other.
Well, I hate this. I hate crypto so much,
Yeah.
and it's just like again, I'm a fundamentals guy, so clearly that's why I hate crypto. I own one Ethereum coin and I own 4,000 of Bitcoin just because I'm a schmuck. Like there is, if you're a growth investor and you don't have any crypto, what are you doing? Like even though I hate crypto and I think I just don't agree with
You
it,
have to be diversified somewhere.
you need to
and
be
have
exposed to it.
something.
Yeah, 100%. So here, let me share my screen again. All right, so Coinbase. This is my biggest issue with Coinbase. Crypto's on fire this year. Like it is, especially in the last 6 months. Why is the revenue just like let's go on the annual. Their revenue this year is it's actually better than I thought. Sorry, I shouldn't be complaining as much. Crypto actually Coinbase had a really good earnings. I didn't realize 78% year-over-year growth. Their margins were. This is my issue. That was my issue. How are they only having 6% net income margins when they're growing the top line 79%? I was like, that doesn't make sense at all. Where they should be producing at least like mid-teens margins or 20% net income margin. At the end of the day, like they're a brokerage. Like what's their gross margin? It's got to be 70% plus. It's 86%. So essentially, every $100 of revenue they make, $86 goes straight to the pocket before they have to expense on a bunch of SG&A or OpEx, CapEx type of stuff. So my question is like, if you're producing 80%, 86% gross margins, and you're growing the top line 78%, where the hell is all the money going? They only made $76 million last quarter when they made 1.2 bill. Where's the money going? Like
I agree, Shy. I agree. It's concerning. It's like
yeah,
what's
it's weird.
going on there? Yeah.
Like
It's a valid question, right? And it's I want an answer, but
let's see. I mean,
and
let's see
that's where,
Robinhood's.
if you're an investor, it's something to keep an eye on, right? If you're loading cash up into this thing and you're heavily investing, it's something to watch out for sure.
This is the gold standard in my opinion. Robinhood. I'm looking at Robinhood. They grew their top line 37%. Fine, not as much as Coinbase. Look at their margins. This is a healthy like this is what you should be producing as a brokerage. Like what is Coinbase spending money on that they can only get 6% net income margins when
Agreed.
you're seeing Robinhood, like their closest competitor in public markets, is producing 5x that.
And what stock has made all-time highs, right? And it's like
Exactly.
it reflects in the stock price, right? Then I'm not saying Coinbase hasn't done good into this end of year. It has, but I mean, it really hasn't done good all year. And Hood, you look at the stock price on Hood, it's been making continuous all-time highs flying. So guys, all this stuff, it always reflects in the stock price. I will say myself, I've said it. I said it earlier. I am not a guy that looks into. I mean, the chart that Shy's on, I mean, I never even bring up any of that, right? I'm strictly on the technicals, but this is very valid to keep an eye on, right? Just because I'm not looking at it all the time doesn't mean I'm not talking to Shy, talking to other guys that are aware of this stuff. That's keeping me informed, right? Because it does reflect in the stock price. It always will.
100%. Like fundamentals is what keeps the longevity of any rally.
Yeah.
Like there could be a bid from some catalyst in Coinbase or crypto or whatnot, but like the sustainability of a bounce always has to be backed by fundamentals. Like fundamentals is what drives a sustainable rally. Like Meta is a great example. Let me go on the weekly chart because Meta is just running. This dip right here that occurred, like yeah, it was ugly. It got really ugly, but really it bounced like the rest of the market. But the reason from this overextension that occurred in 2023, mid of 2023 to now, the market hasn't doubled since 2023, middle of 2023. It's gone up a lot, but not doubled. The reason Meta has gone up so much is they start getting serious about their fundamentals. Like they're like, all right, we're going to stop investing so much in their money losing lab part of their business. We're going to stop like just throwing money out to figure out the next to conquer AR/VR. We're going to get very disciplined. And they saw an insane margin expansion opportunity when they did that. And that's why the stock sustained this rally. Like this rally right here, the reason it got an extra leg, this is all fundamentals. This was technicals. The market is way oversold and it bounced to the market. The reason it held, not just held, but got new lengths is because of fundamentals. So that's why I think Tesla has so much room to run, because I think we're about to hit that that meta gross margin expansion story in 2025, 2026. Like this rally is experiencing, I think it's going to not just stick.
Are starting to align, right?
Exactly.
Fundamentals are nice, and now we're starting to get the chart actually looks beautiful now too, right? For a long time, the chart didn't look very nice, so we're actually getting like all those stars kind of aligning here. So
totally, I think
I want to see these new all-time highs into the new year. Personally, be beautiful.
Well, let's see how
far off are we there?
15%, 14%.
That's I mean,
actually no, sorry. Let me redo it. We're at 340 right now.
I mean, 14% for Tesla. That's really not too much. 15.
Yeah, we're at 18%. So this could happen this week.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, that's crazy. That's nothing for Tesla. You saw Tesla rip what was it? over 10% that one night
100%. Like
is
when, all right, when Tesla runs, it runs like really bad,
there's no
like
stopping
insane.
it.
So the last time Tesla experienced some kind of inflection period in their business was last when people didn't believe EVs can be profitable at all. They just thought, oh, it's a great consumer car, but the business economics doesn't make it just won't be profitable ever. They're just not. They're not gonna make it work. Tesla made it work, and when it approved it, it happened sometime between early 2020. Look at this move. As soon as they approved it and it had that margin expansion story like Meta had in 2023, what I think Tesla's going to have 2025 and 2026, it went from $34. Yes, this is including when the money was free, the Fed was just pumping money into the economy. So like, yes, this is inflated for sure, but it did 10x. So like, let's just say I don't think it's going to 10x from here. Like, I don't think it's going to be a $4,000 stock. I think absolutely this is going to be a multi-trillion-dollar company once FSD revenue comes in. Because if you want to go on what's showing the fundamentals, business economics for being a car manufacturer sucks. 18% margin, 18, 19, like it's not a profitable business. And that's why they're the only they're the only EV company that has profitable margins associated with their cars. Only one. Everyone else, GM, Ford, all the shitco EVs, like they lose money for every car they produce. Tesla doesn't. But that FSD revenue recognition that comes play, like again, that Trump presidency, if it helps accelerate the the commercialization of FSD and autonomy, that's going to bring in 90% gross margin business because FSD revenue is 90%. And if that 90% gross margin starts putting into play in their fundamentals, this is going to trickle back up to 25%, maybe even 30% as soon as the revenue keeps pounding on, pounding on. And the scalability on FSD is absolutely nuts. Our autonomy, like it's insane. The TAM is ridiculous. That's where like, whoa, if they can start producing billions of dollars in FSD every single quarter with $900 million essentially being straight gross profit, these numbers are violently underestimated going forward. And that's why you're seeing a major bid in the stock. And I think it's going to continue. I think if FSD
Well, I
is
think
in
that's where
reality,
this FOMO kind of comes in, like we were talking about
100%.
with Palantir, right? And it's just like you think, oh, it needs to pull back, and it just never stops, and it goes for new highs, and it keeps going, and you're like, oh my gosh, when is this thing gonna stop?
All
I
right,
think that's the start of maybe something we're seeing
market's
here on
open right
Tesla.
now.
Yeah,
There's
market just
so far
opened.
selling so far at the open for Tesla. It's noticed 5%, 5%. AMD got faded. Nvidia is going a little lower. Let's see how the 5-minute candle. Again, 5-minute candles. I don't have. Jordan and I both don't recommend, but as at the open, it's definitely interesting to see where the flow is
Oh
going
yeah,
towards.
definitely fun to watch.
Let's
I see
see.
Tesla trying to hold that gap that we made overnight. So there's buyers holding at that 335 gap fill or gap
Oh my God,
area.
Rocket Lab is getting accumulated at the open. Look at this, up 6% above that $20 level.
Looking nice, yeah.
Jeez, I love this.
That had
This
a
is one
great
of my
earnings, huh?
favorites. Yeah, they had a
I didn't listen to
their
the earnings call, but I assume things were good given the chart.
oh my God, it's incredible. I think they proved in their earnings that they're not just a launching company, they're a space logistics company, and that TAM is rapidly higher. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's why, like, again, people were violently underexposed to Rocket Lab because they treated all space stocks as shitcoins. That's not the case. Like, Rocket Lab is not the shitco. It's actually high. I own a lot of it. Like, it's one of my favorite stocks, and like, I think you're seeing that reflected on people like needing exposure to the next frontier after AI, and that's space. Rocket Lab's the best pure play to capture that. So you're seeing accumulation on that. Tesla's holding pretty strong. Look at this candle. Like
Yeah,
we have 2 minutes left on the candle, but
I love
oh,
this shot because
Palantir. Look
everybody's
at
getting
Palantir.
er,
Holy
ooh
Palantir's dumping.
ooh
No way.
ooh.
I gotta. Oh my God. This is a bad open for Palantir. Holy moly.
I will say from the technical standpoint, it's just an inside day so far. So as long as we hold Friday's low there, which is $60.90, I think things are okay. But a nasty start to the morning for sure.
That's
It looks gross.
it
But
looks not. It just looks nasty. Holy moly. So that's something to watch. Let's see. I mean, quantum computing as well is getting dumped. Um, this is interesting. I'm sorry, I'm making some plays right now.
Oh yeah, you're good. Make some plays.
I think I might be buying some $50 puts on Palantir. I think this is like the wash it needed.
I love this because everybody's getting like kind of the two sides of the story here. You know, Shy, with you're really bringing the fundamental side of things and then combining that with your technicals, and then I'm the chart guy. you know, and I just love having that because you can play it both ways. You can capitalize on both types of investing, or you can just do one. Right? I like to do both personally, but
This is all right.
that's
So
why I have you guys, because I can't do all that research all by myself. I gotta have people smarter than me doing it for me, right?
Nvidia is not looking good either at that. That's a bad count. So
Yeah.
interesting. So the two clear winners in the past couple weeks has been Nvidia, Palantir, dumping at the open today. Let's see what the next 5 man candle is. But this was actually, how would you describe this 5 man candle, Jordan?
On Palantir, the
Right
early one.
here. Oh, it's
Um,
accelerating. This is,
really
oh my
nasty,
God.
really nasty.
It's one of the
Again,
nastiest
it
out
has
there.
to hold. It has to hold Friday's low here, or else this could get kind of ugly. But as long as it holds Friday's low, it's just an inside day, and I could see buyers stepping in there for sure. But if not, I see Palantir going to $60 if we can't hold that. Maybe just under that at 58.80 or so as well. That could be a spot. But
No, this
yeah,
is
I think sideways is needed
nuts.
here a little bit. I think we need some sideways price action.
I don't think it's gonna. I think this is actually. I'm looking at puts long term for March. I almost want to look for Friday calls though. I think this is gonna bounce. Like I'm waiting for like a first green candle on here, and I think it's gonna be like people are gonna want to buy the stock. I don't know if they're gonna buy it above 60, but they're gonna want to. Tesla's holding. This is wild to see. Like Tesla's. That was like an ugly candle initially, but it's holding strong. I feel like it wants to hit the 350 level. Um, wow, Nvidia is just really bleeding a little. Let's see what's happening in big tech. What else? What's Netflix doing? People don't care about Netflix. It's down 1.4%, not a big deal. AMD is catching a bid though. So you're seeing Nvidia fading. Is there a rotation happening today on AMD? And Nvidia's tax is AMD's gain. Let's see. This is nuts though. Any other? Let's look on stock. Let's look on Stocktwits right now. What else is happening? Yeah, Nvidia is just. What's the sentiment on Palantir? Bearish. Not surprised. Wow. See, look. I mentioned this earlier today. 60% institutional ownership for Palantir now. That's an insane number because it used to be driven by retail. So that's really great to see. Let's see what else is happening. Yeah, AMD's Tesla is just 7% now. Jeez. It's great to see. Palantir's continuing their bleed.
If I want to participate in Coinbase, I'm probably, unless IV can drop, I'm likely going to be playing the 2x leverage shares with Con L. It's just the IV is really high on these contracts that I'm looking at still, and it's just not worth the squeeze for me. 80%, 90% IV. I don't love that, so I might just do some shares on the 2x leverage tickers. We'll see. I'm not buying anything yet though. I'm looking at that 290, 250 still, which is that Thursday high from last week.
Yeah, I'm looking what else is moving. It's just Rock Lab's pulling back a bit now.
No, Google's been getting some decent downside lately. It's holding up here inside day so far, in between the range from Thursday. Holding that daily 21.
What's the volume like today? Let's see. I know it's only 5 minutes. Not too
Well,
much yet.
generally in the first 5 minutes, though, if I don't see SPY already at a mil, it's a little. We're at 975,000. Hopefully by that first hour is over, that picks up a little bit. But it's it's the start of a new week and it's Nvidia earnings week. I'm really not surprised if we don't see a ton of volume flowing in until then, but I don't know. Sometimes you see the opposite. Sometimes you expect like super choppy price action coming up to a big earnings like that, and we get some crazy trending price action, right? So it's like nobody has a crystal ball. You just gotta kind of play what's in front of you and kind of expect the unexpected and just play what's there. Because I've spent too many times, even the OPEX days where you have options expiry going on. I've had plenty of days where I sit out and it ends up being a beautiful trend. And I sat out just because I thought, it was going to be a certain type of price action because of a certain type of data point coming out. When I can just let the price action tell me that, right? And
100% agree with you on that. So I mean, today, again, this is one. We're about to wrap up now because we are 10 minutes over. Again, Jordan and I are just like, we did not notice we went an hour and 10 minutes because this is like awesome. This is exactly what
this is
him and
fun
I
for
do.
us. We love this.
Yeah, we love this. So like we do this privately, and now we're just gonna do it in front of the camera. Like this is exactly my process. I do every day before open. So we are wrapping up right now. Again, this is an everyday show we're gonna do. Tomorrow we will be having Duncan from Flood Capital join us. And if you guys aren't aware of who he is, he's like I'm building a growth portfolio that's public on Twitter on specific growth thematics. He's doing the same thing for crypto, specifically altcoins. So we're gonna get two different tastes of flavor of like how he orchestrates a portfolio on altcoins, what he looks for, what he thinks is undervalued versus what I do on the equity side. So that's gonna be fun tomorrow. We're gonna have
It's
him
gonna
on
be
the
a
call.
good
Yeah,
conversation. I think good kind of debates on both sides there. To argue your story. You know what I mean? I think it's gonna be fun. So excited
yeah.
for it.
So come tune in. I think this was a great launch. So I appreciate it again. Jim's sitting right next to me, helping me out with this production, make sure it's not going wrong, and I think it went pretty flawless. And again, thank you Stocktwits for like orchestrating this for Jordan and I. We're excited to do this every single day, and yeah, tune in tomorrow morning to see what happens. Hopefully, Palantir is down 8% right now, so let's see if it breaks 60. It's gonna be a wild move. See what's gonna happen tomorrow. But thanks everyone.